The following program may contain strong language. All of the comments and opinions expressed do not reflect the views of anyone but those making said comments. If you decide to continue listening to this program, it is assumed that you are not easily offended and have a broad sense of humor. Now that all that's out of the way, enjoy! Everybody. Yes, we're starting. That's your cue.
Oh, welcome in.
That's your cue to episode 23 of the Mike and Billy Show. Welcome. God damn it, welcome. Mike Wendt.
Billy Finnegan.
And yes, a bit more jovial mood than last week, to say the least.
The very least.
The very least.
I think.
Yes. I know we ended last show saying that we hoped that we would have good news for you, and yes, we indeed do, if you've been living under a rock, and because this is now Tuesday the 23rd, I'm sure you won't be listening to this until Wednesday at the latest, but about, what, 4 days ago?
Well, maybe if you're really motivated, Mike.
Well, people might have slept, through a few days of this. They might
You
have
slept for 4 days?
Imagine that. Imagine they
for
missed
4 days. What
they
did they do?
missed all the news, and we're the ones breaking it to them.
Breaking news from the Mike and Billy Show.
Breaking.
I doubt it.
Be wonderful, wouldn't it?
It would be.
It'd be wonderful to break a news story on our recorded podcast. Think about that for a second. How out of touch must you be if we're breaking news to you? Pretty out of touch.
Pretty out of touch.
Pretty out of touch. Pretty out of touch. But for those of you that are out of touch, yes. Bomber number 1, dead.
Dead.
Bomber number 2,
Caught
in a boat.
Now, the funniest...
He was in a boat.
It's not funny, but the strangest thing about this was, as you said, we ended the last show saying we hope things work out. We hope,
right.
We catch these guys. Literally recorded that and ended recording probably Thursday night at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock.
We ended it, probably 2 hours before the manhunt started.
The manhunt started, which began at MIT.
And
no
it didn't
one
even
had
get
known,
uploaded.
And no one,
it didn't upload until Saturday.
No one knew that the MIT thing was in correlation with these suspects at the time. That didn't come out
until probably 1 o'clock in the morning.
And so, Mike, as Mike does, because I just talk on this thing, but Mike does all the work. For those of you who don't know.
Well, I'm the bigger of the two, so I do the heavy lifting for us.
Right, because I'm a little weakling.
Right.
And
I do the work.
Breaking news.
I do the work. Billy has the mustache.
Breaking news, which is very beneficial to me.
It usually carries him through enough.
So, so a couple hours into our overnight shifts that we each do, the MIT shooting occurred.
Mm.
The news feeds were just on fire. Just everything coming out.
Initially, we just thought it was another just tragic act of violence,
right? Which was like,
because that's what a lot of people were saying. Like, oh my God, what else could happen? This week?
And I remember saying that, like, I was talking with one of the other jocks here, and I just went, why? Out of all the weeks, like, can't you at least like take these things and like move them to a different week?
Couldn't we
put
a moratorium on crime for a week? Jesus, let us fix what we got.
The city is already just. The energy that has gone into this whole week has just been draining on everyone. So that's what we thought.
But it ended up
turning out to be in correlation with the bombing suspects. Now, Mike and I were up through the overnight. So not only that, but we were also, it was almost like a front row seat to all this, because it
for a lot of points it was right down the street. It
literally happened 5 minutes down the road.
There was one point that they said that the chase was going right outside our studio here.
I can assure you
you had a Windows
that I had a Windows view of it, and I was going, I hope these damn things are bulletproof.
I was downstairs texting Billy going, you better fortify, you're our first line of defense.
Oh, I put up on Facebook at one point, I said, I hope these windows are bulletproof, and a friend who works here says, no, they're bullet resistant. And I went, oh, God.
That stinks.
And I didn't think about it until another coworker had called and said, hey.
It might stop at 22.
Yeah, if you're lucky. But I didn't think about it until a coworker had called me and asked, hey, how you doing? Are you all right? And I'm going, yeah, I'm fine. He goes, well, you're doing the overnight, right? Yeah. And this whole time, like, we had police scanners on. Everyone was listening to it. You know, we're tweeting it and Facebooking
the police
it.
I mean, if there was ever a day where the internet beat the shit out of TV news, it was that night.
Certainly,
and there's nothing they could do about it.
But it was the good and the bad of it because, and I was guilty of it. And a friend of mine had said, as a journalist, you never pay attention or you never take for word what goes through the police scanner, because there was a lot of things that were wrong that went through the police scanner.
Right.
There's a lot of just random talk.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like listening in on someone's cell phone call.
Kind of.
And so there was a lot of things that were tweeted out, not just by myself, but by a lot of people on Twitter. Everyone that was listening to the scanners, everything was out there. But at the same time, it was great because I think it helped a lot of people, or it certainly helped the police, and because with the tweeting and whatnot, I think, and especially when they released the photos originally, it helped a lot of people out.
Well, that seemed to be, in my amateur opinion, that seemed to be what sparked this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they released the photos. The FBI came out and said, these are the two people we are looking for
and it was
at 5 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And literally 5 hours later, this all went into action. And, it sucks that, the MIT cop had to lose his life because of it.
Collier,
yeah. And I'm friends on Facebook with one of the guys that used to ride with him.
Oh.
And that was the guy who I was telling you was giving me the updates on the scanner and stuff when we first started.
Yeah.
And I didn't know at the time, because he was just posting updates as the scanner was running. I found out hours into it. I'm like, oh shit, he rode with him. So it's been a rough one for him. But
that's a shame. And that too, that was such a,
it's such an unnecessary fucking.
Well, especially when the fact that his sidearm was still
he was ambushed.
Intact. He was ambushed.
It was disgusting.
And it was obviously fitting for that guy to get the welcome home that he did when they did have the police lined up on the streets and they brought the body back.
They did the right thing afterwards, but
it should have never happened.
No, it was disgusting. The way, just the whole scenario of how he.
The guy was just there doing his job. It's a shame.
Yeah, but yeah, it all played out live for especially the two of us. I mean, Mike and Billy Show dominated the fucking coverage. I don't mind telling you. For the first 9 hours.
Yeah.
Before we got the mandate.
Before we got the mandate to say no more. They said no more tweeting, so I just stuck to Facebook.
It's funny because they were our bosses were about maybe 20 minutes ahead of the cops, because then they started doing it.
Yeah.
They started tweeting out, do not give out specific information you're hearing on the scanners. You're putting lives in jeopardy. And I never even thought of that.
Neither did I.
I never thought that this guy would be running and reading Twitter.
He certainly wasn't.
No.
But the thought, it never does occur to you and dawn on you that people could do that these days.
Right.
Especially when you're, a lot of it was like hashtag Watertown. If you just looked up the hashtag, they would, you could know what the scanners are thinking and where they're going. And
a lot of us were posting like specific shit we were hearing. It's like, oh, they're on this street. Oh, they're on that street.
I mean,
there's a car in Copley getting searched by three guys. I remember specifically there was a tax.
Taxi,
I just looked up and there's a sign that says Titty Sprinkles. I love this place. I really do. I was sitting here trying to have a nice fucking serious thing, and I look up and Titty Sprinkles. That's fucking brilliant. But I remember specifically the cab in Copley that got pulled over, and it was a Middle Eastern driver, a Middle Eastern passenger, and a white passenger, all male, and 3 backpacks in the trunk that were searched. And they were all down, and that was one of the things that I remember tweeting, because it ran over the scanner. And it wasn't, I mean, I think I don't, it was just instinct at the time. I didn't have any agenda for why I was doing it.
Right.
I just think, I think it was just more getting information out, like hoping that, especially, and one of the things, it's like every few either Facebook or Twitter posts that I would make, I mean, I would absolutely just send out, stay in your fucking homes.
Yeah, and that was
the main. That was like, out of all the shit I was posting, if you were following me, especially if you lived in the Watertown area, stay in your homes was the main thing I was trying to get across. That this is no fucking joke. This is no time to be rubbernecking any of this shit.
Well, especially for the fact that we were staying up through the whole thing. But again, this was a strange. I don't remember the last time something like this or an event like this happened where everything happened pretty much during the overnight.
Oh yeah.
And then you wake up and say you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning. You're just bombarded now with news reports and wait, what do you mean that there's a high speed chase? What do you mean that this happened? There was a firefight last night, and like by the 8 o'clock news, luckily for the news stations, they had YouTube videos already up there. They had all these other things ready to go.
Some stations
to make
some stations dropped the ball,
but they certainly were. It made their job easier to cover the thing because once again, in the day and age that we live in, everyone out there with a cell phone, a Twitter account, a Facebook, that's your journalism.
Right.
Now. That's what it's become.
Especially on nights like that. Because
you two. I mean, there was the kid that had the bullet go through his window and into his chair.
It was bizarre, that photo.
So he's taking pictures outside of
the news was showing video of the shootout filmed from a cell phone. Again, hold your cameras sideways, people. Come on.
Look, it's just because you got a camera phone doesn't make you Scorsese, okay?
Come on. I mean,
calm down.
I'm not
there,
asking
Mike.
for Scorsese,
hey,
but
I'm looking for information. You're looking for the next Oscar-winning YouTube video.
I am.
Which I don't know why you are.
I'm gonna make it.
Okay.
Because it's held sideways.
All right. That was one of the best things.
And it was very disorienting.
It was the best thing and the worst thing about technology and how far we've come these days. It's like, yes, everyone could be a reporter out there, and yes, the news can spread very quickly to people, and you can get information out there quick.
You have to know how to filter it, though.
That is the problem, is filtering.
You have to
good
have
news
half
and
a
bad
common
news.
sense head to half a common sense head. Whatever that, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes, you have to have the common sense for it, but this was another
filter the information that's coming through, so you know what's not I don't want to say bullshit, but what's pertinent. Like some of the
what's
shit
pertinent and what's a lie or what's completely false. And one of the biggest things, and I was guilty of it, and I'm making my formal apology here as I did on Twitter and Facebook.
All right.
Earlier in the night, it came through that they thought they had identified the suspects.
Oh,
I can't remember which one. The other one was sadly the missing Brown student.
Right.
Sunil, I think it's Tripathy or
there was
Tripathy.
a lot.
There was a lot of people that thought that was the truth. And
there was that, and you know what? To everybody's credit, the son of a bitch is a doppelganger. They look identical.
They very close, very close.
Especially the images that were
the grainy footage, and you kind of said, "Oh, it might be." And a lot of people, it wasn't just myself.
The story made sense.
The story made sense. He, for those who don't know the story, Sunil, Sonny for short, left Brown University on March the 16th. He left his his belongings, his phone, his credit cards, his IDs, and he's been gone ever since. Yeah. And everyone thought that it's quite a possibility. And even the cops that came over the scanner, which is why you don't always pay attention to the scanner. But
sure,
people were hypothesizing. They thought that he must have been the bomber.
See, that's also why.
And it wasn't. And so he's still out there, and hopefully he comes back home.
But there's also, when you're posting stuff, see, people, they tend to want to be the guy. They want to be the first. They want to break. They want to break the story type of thing. So it's like they'll post it as a first person.
Yeah.
That's why, if I heard shit on the scanner, I made it very clear. This is from a scanner.
Well, and mine, a lot of mine was.
This is from Channel 7. This is from Channel 4. I was not taking credit for breaking anything.
Yeah.
Just because you don't know what's real out there. The cops on the scanner, they're just running down every lead they can.
Right.
They ran right past us. There was nothing up here.
No.
He was way the fuck over there.
But they were checking everything.
But they had to.
And, yeah. On some of mine, I think I said scanner. On others, I used quotations because I wasn't getting mine from, you know, it wasn't
It
wasn't my opinion. I was getting a lot of stuff from Twitter, from what we were watching on TV, from the scanners.
My sources were as accessible to everybody else.
But that was the strange thing, the funny thing, or it's not even funny. Shut up, Billy. You know, that was a peculiar thing about it, was a lot of people were actually telling me, I'm getting all my news from you, meaning me.
I got that a lot
rather
too.
than on television, and it's like, you know, I appreciate that, but it's like, you know, you guys can go search this out yourself, and you know I flooded a lot of Facebook.
A lot of people don't know how to, though. That's the thing you realize.
I didn't really think about putting a fucking scanner on the computer until that night.
I didn't know either. But
and then I ended up, because it wasn't working on the computer, I downloaded it to my phone. I got a scanner now on my phone.
Yeah.
The technology that's out today, and the reach that you can get with a lot of things, and the reach that you can have with other people, this whole manhunt craziness, this bombing, it's completely changed the world. I mean, technologically speaking, I should say, it hasn't changed the entire world. Shit happens all the time around the world.
Right.
But anyway,
it changed the way, I would say, at least news is spread.
Well, like you said,
If
the internet, Twitter, Reddit, everything trumped
TV for a good number of hours,
and television and radio.
Yeah, I mean, radio especially.
Because I don't think anyone was covering it during the overnight.
No, a lot of them were just simulcasting the TV station.
Yeah,
and I mean, here in Boston, the one I gotta give credit to is Adam Williams for Channel 7. He was there during the first shootout.
Yeah,
like he was on. I don't know. He must live in Watertown or at least close by. Because he was on
right
the
there.
scene. Their cameras were all in there when the other station was still trying to get their shit together.
Yeah,
they had the camera, you know, as they were loading up the body into the ambulance. They got the naked guy. They got the guy on the ground who was the same guy as the naked guy, and who ended up being
he was just a
bad luck.
Wrong place and wrong time.
Place, wrong time. But they're not going to take any fucking chances in a situation like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they were, and it was funny because he was going till midnight. He did a full 25, 27-hour shift.
He was a marathon man.
You know? And it was funny because when it finally all ended, he was just on the street looking punch drunk and haggard, just like, hey, how do you feel?
Comment. You know, that's what it was. It was like, blah, blah, blah.
America,
what?
comment.
Yeah, it was freedom. Comment. Bombing, comment.
But goddamn, I mean that's what those guys. I mean,
he made it into an art form.
That's like, you know, I mean, that's going to be a once in a career for him. You can't.
That's on the. I mean, you know, it was a tragedy, obviously, but that's a highlight reel.
But as far as an anchor is concerned, that's you're
completely.
You know, that's, I'm guessing, as close to wartime journalism as Adam Williams is going to get.
Well, for his sake, I hope so.
You know.
You don't want that to happen again. But.
I don't see him getting called to the front lines or anything.
No, it's like he's certainly no Anderson Cooper.
No, oh Jesus, that fucking guy.
What? That's.
I've had enough of him. I really have.
All right, I don't want to get. No, I don't want to get.
I saw him trying to leech onto the fucking story. Shut your face. We got it covered.
You know.
I'm sorry, but he's
got to keep the bills coming in so he can get new black T-shirts.
He might have done good at one time, but in my opinion, he gave up his journalistic integrity when he started doing that shitty morning thing, that daytime talk show. I'm sorry, you became Ellen.
I will agree with you there. I'll agree with you.
You know,
although Ellen, don't say a bad word about her. She's great.
But I wouldn't go for her for hard journalism.
Well, if you're going to Ellen for that's like going to Oprah for hard journalism.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's what he
has.
That's what he's relegated himself to.
I understand what you're saying.
Which is fine as a career move.
He's become a sideshow rather than.
It's fine as a career move, but don't try to jump back in. You can't jump back and forth because your audiences are now soccer moms. They're not, you know. Right. Okay. We're not going to Anderson Cooper anymore.
All right, then I will.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I'll definitely concede on that one, and I'll agree.
Hey.
Finally, you won.
Point in the win column. Put it down.
But I will give a lot of credit to a lot of the news media sources. I mean, more credit to some than others.
I
But
give credit to the Mike and Billy news media sources.
I think we were excellent.
I think for the first 9-10 hours of the manhunt, domination.
Billy News Network. That's what I was calling it.
What, the BNN?
The BNN.
Nice, I like it.
It was there. I mean, hey, I'll tell you right now, I was a hell of a lot better than CNN.
Oh,
I mean, it's a full grade higher. It's a B instead of a C.
it's amazing that even during the height of the manhunt, people were still shitting on CNN.
Well, because
they were finding the
CNN
time
hadn't even caught on to it. They're what's going on?
in between.
We're gonna go right back to Wolf Blitzer.
Scanner says there's a car being pulled over with a suspected bomb in it. CNN's a bunch of dicks.
It was.
Even,
It was.
people were taking the time to shit on CNN in between manhunt posts.
But I think that was definitely a big factor to a lot of those news sources not jumping on the story quick enough, is because they didn't want to turn into the next CNN, because CNN Tuesday or Wednesday turned into the biggest joke.
The problem is
ever
with stuff like this. I mean, the local news has it so down because it's in their backyard.
Yeah, and they're
the
right
studios,
there.
the trucks,
Yeah.
the cameras. They don't need to fucking fly somebody over the Boston.
Hell, BZ is right down there.
They're in Watertown
They're
almost.
in Watertown. I mean,
I don't know what the line
either
is,
way,
but
though. But they're right next
they
to
can
the
walk.
They're right there next to the Arsenal Mall,
Right,
and they
right,
could have just
exactly.
lined up where the cops were. That was such a sight to see when that picture came on Twitter, down at the Arsenal Mall with the cops lined up, and it looked like something out of Patton.
Yeah.
It was
how about
incredible.
when coming out on the roof here and watching the Black Hawk helicopters fly overhead. I'd never seen shit like that.
I've never seen a Black Hawk helicopter up close, and I saw two that morning.
Two fly over our heads.
Like I almost when
this
it was flying overhead, I in my head I just went, I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
You have to though.
That's what it felt like. You could hear it. It was there. You could feel the Blackhawks. Like you could feel the wind just hitting you.
Yeah.
And it's like against the chest, and it's like, holy shit.
And meanwhile,
this is
you
real.
get all of us up on the roof, and I'm sitting there on the cell phone. I'm like, I probably shouldn't be on a cell phone on a roof right now.
Well, I probably shouldn't be on a roof in general. I mean,
but mixing the two, I'm like, they're looking for guys on cell phones right now.
Yeah.
But it was funny again because Denise slept through the whole thing.
I can't believe you could sleep through that thing.
She turns around. You know what?
I slept through the end, but that's only because I stayed up. I was up at 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Sleep. We passed out.
Oh, okay. Yes.
There's a difference.
Thank you.
I tried staying up as long as I could.
I wanted to because I had a feeling that they were going to catch him, but
yeah, she and it was kind of nerve-wracking not hearing from her all fucking morning because it's right there.
Because it was right there. Yeah.
I mean, we lived X amount of blocks away. Not even miles.
That was
less than a mile away from
your town. I mean, I know they shut down quote unquote Boston, and like they listed Boston as a lockdown.
Right.
But
we share a border with Watertown. I'm in Belmont.
Yeah, but you're in Belmont, and Belmont was listed as Belmont lockdown.
He was found less than a mile from my front door.
Right.
Let's put it that way. And I mean, I was confident in the fact that she was fine, but it was like I still wanted her to wake up. After a while, there was a point between like, it started around 10ish. There was a point between between 10 and I'd say, I don't know, 3 o'clock in the morning where I'm like, she can still sleep. She can sleep. She can sleep. Then I'm like, at a certain point, I was like, she needs to be awake just to check in.
But especially after the week before.
Because the last thing, I wanted was
that week. I should say earlier in the week. It's like
she had been through enough.
And her phone was, they knocked the phone out.
Right.
During the marathon, it's like you can't get a hold of her.
Right.
You finally get the story from her. Now it's like, okay, you're not leaving the house anymore.
Right. And that was what I didn't want. I the off chance that she woke up, took a shower, didn't check her phone, and decided to go to work. I was like, that's the only reason I wanted her to wake up was just to check in so I could say.
Could you imagine she pulls out of the driveway, goes like 5 blocks you know, in drive, and then there's a fucking tank right there, like,
and has no knowledge of it, and she'd be cursing the tank.
Yeah. Get the fuck out of the way! Move! I gotta get to work! What do you mean there's a manhunt?
What is this?
I got 5 minutes!
Nobody told me they were shooting a movie down here. Come on.
All right, get out of the way, Michael Bay. I gotta fucking go.
But yeah, luckily, she probably around 8 o'clock. I got the call that she was awake, and to a, you know, she woke up to a string of my text messages, which were just information. It was like, stay inside, turn on the TV, don't lock the doors, don't answer the doors, blah 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 blah. Yeah. But so I mean, on that front, everything was fine. But the lockdown was so weird. I mean, that's something that we've never experienced.
No. I thought, and I know it's been said over and over again, but kudos to Boston for just saying, oh, you want us to all stay inside? Okay, you go find the guy.
Right.
You know, and then just seeing the pictures of Kenmore, seeing downtown, seeing Government Center, everything just closed off, and it was a ghost town.
Yeah.
Because everyone just stayed inside, and then it was like everyone just like waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and then all of a sudden they catch him, and it's like I was gonna say.
Yeah, I know. I've been trying so hard not to use the word boom or bang or explosion and there's so many, you know, like, oh, boom goes the dynamite. But I can't say that.
But it was an outpouring of celebration.
Good one.
Thank you. Is
flooded okay? Flooded's a natural disaster. Nobody really cares about flooding.
Yeah,
unless you get flooded.
Well, you could have your Facebook feed flooded, but anyway.
An outpouring is a good way to put it.
But it was just this outburst and outpouring of emotions just running out into the street after the fact, and it was incredible. You have this ghost town picture, and then the next thing you know, if you put them, juxtapose them side by side, there's just like thousands of people in the street, and it was unbelievable, and rightfully so. They deserved it, you know, because the entire city has been just. It's a different type of city these days.
For lack of a better term, for 24 hours, the city was held hostage.
Yeah,
I mean, we couldn't leave our homes. Not forcibly, but we couldn't leave our homes.
It was a hostage situation that was needed,
right?
But certainly, and to be honest, you know, at that time, even if they didn't have a lockdown, I'm sure everyone would have stayed inside anyway, just to watch what the hell was going on the TV.
You'd hope, but yeah, and I remember even coming into work that night. Well, actually, first of all, leaving work when they said around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they're like, if you're at work, we're not saying you can't leave. We just want you to stay in your homes.
Yeah.
But if you went to work early in the morning, you obviously can go home.
Please go home.
My problem with that was 100% of my route was ground zero.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have to drive through where they found him and where everything was set up. So I had to take an obnoxiously long ride home where it was like, you know, I don't, it's not important to me to describe how I got home, but, you know, basically I set up my GPS, hit go home, and accepted the fact that it was going to reroute about 7 times.
But I remember talking to you before you left because I was like, you know, hey, good luck, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, even then you were saying, I don't even know how long it's going to take me to get home because you didn't know. You don't know what they blocked off. I mean, they blocked off
literally 20, as soon as we turned
blocks.
out. Yeah.
20 blocks. Yeah. So they were.
As soon as we turned out of the parking lot here, we were blocked off and we were already being rerouted.
Wow.
It was like that.
Because I didn't even when I leave, I go the other way. So it's like I didn't even want to check down in Watertown.
No, I had to at least start going that way until it stopped me, and then it was literally one left, and boom, got cops just going like this, and I'm giving them the thumbs up.
No,
I'm an American.
The best thing was you sent me a text message, and you said I'm home, but the whole time I'm driving, I got my license, my passport. And what else did you have? I think
registration.
Registration, all in your hands. So you're driving with all that
grip on
and then at the same time, you're giving the thumbs up to every single cop you pass, like a fucking jamoke. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, I would have pulled your ass over anyway, just for the fuck of it.
I just come on. That of all the days, they had better things to deal with than me.
I know.
I didn't want any questioning because I have a suspicious look.
You would have had. Oh, but the other thing was, you were at work. You had a hoodie. You had a hat on.
Yeah.
It was a black hoodie, a black hat, and we were all joking here, like, Mike, if you're gonna leave, I think you better take the hoodie off.
I did.
And I think you better take the
Took
hat
the hat
off.
off, took the hoodie off.
You had like the plainest shirt, like a Boston shirt, just making sure you were a hometown guy.
Roll my windows down. If I had had the national anthem on my iPod, I would have played it.
Stars and Stripes forever, man. Like if I had time, if I had paint, I would have painted my car red, white, and blue. Like that was it.
But yeah, so
put the old Uncle Sam hat on.
But once I got close to home, yeah, there was a lot of it was ghost town. I mean, I took a picture at one of the intersections. It was just there was all you
put
could
it up on the Facebook page.
Yeah, all there was police tape all over the place, like just blocking off. It was almost the best way to describe it was basically like the night I drove home in the blizzard, just without the snow.
Yeah,
there was only one route you could go. Like there was. Usually you take plenty of rights and plenty of lefts. Well, you couldn't because they were blocked off.
But again, I give those guys a hell of a lot of credit for doing that in such a short amount of time and being so organized. I mean, obviously, I know he was found like a block out of the perimeter that they had, but they were able to do a 20-block perimeter in less than, at the time, it was like less than an hour or 2 hours. They were able to set everything
very
up
quickly, yeah.
so quickly, and they were so thorough, especially Rumor has it that it was between 9,000 and 10,000 cops.
Yeah, I heard almost 10,000
in Boston at one time. I mean, that's FBI, that's Boston police, and the surrounding areas, just all
ATF
outpouring.
transit.
Unreal. And then I heard when they finally did catch him, and he surrendered himself. It was the MBTA cops.
The MBTA SWAT team were the ones that handcuffed him.
That put the handcuffs on him for as a sign of tribute to.
Well, they were just the first ones on the scene.
No, but I think everyone was there, but it's just they allowed him to. They allowed the MBTA cops to put the cuffs on. I thought it was a great tribute to Collier, who had just passed earlier in the night, which was again.
And the MBTA also had a cop that was in critical at the time. Donahue, wasn't it?
Donahue or
yeah.
Which again, another pointless
Luckily
victim.
He made it, but
luckily,
I mean,
but and then of course the picture came out of those two together. They had I think it was like graduation or something like that,
yeah.
which is very sad to see. But again, luckily he's still there, and again the outpouring of the city, the support.
It's been amazing.
Very cool.
It's
cool to be a part of.
And over the weekend, I said it many times when I was on the air. It's just I've never been more proud to say I'm from Boston. It's like the best of people was shown this past week.
John Stewart put it probably
more eloquently than I could.
More eloquent than a lot of us could, but absolutely the outpouring of humanity. And it wasn't just it was in Boston, a lot of the outpouring, but all over the world. And one of the pictures I saw was people in Syria, I believe, saying we're with you, Boston.
The ones holding the signs up.
The ones holding the signs and saying we're with you, Boston.
The whole London Marathon thing with
well, but the Syria thing was interesting because it was Syria, people in Syria holding up, we're with you, Boston, all this stuff. This sort of stuff happens every day.
That one, yeah.
And then people in Boston responded with it and said Syria, and they even, I don't know where they got the Syrian writing for it, but they put it on the top of the sign and then it said Syria, our prayers are with you too, and that's what we need. We need fucking humanity to come together. Yes, I know violence happens all over the world.
Yeah.
I'm aware of the after the bombings at the marathon, the Iraqi wedding that was bombed. Sad, very sad. But again, all of it, take it all and just put it as a reminder and just let's step forward together in fucking humanity.
It does. It makes you want to be a better person, even just for a week. I mean,
absolutely. Everyone.
It's like and I said it. I don't remember if I said it while we were already talking or off the air or whatever, but it's like it's amazing how quickly people will just jump back into normalcy once the guy was caught. It's like just the Twitter stream went from the greatest sentiments of humanity into All right, well, he's caught. Let's go back to fucking with each other.
Yeah.
It's like, can't we just enjoy this for a week?
Can't we all just get along,
Can't we
please?
enjoy being nice for like a week?
It's so, because it takes for some people, it takes too much work.
It really does.
And it's really sad.
Like I said earlier, it's like, can't we put a moratorium on crime for like a week? I know I'm fucking way too lofty of a goal.
Yeah.
And, it sucks to say, but I can't imagine how many fucking crimes were committed during the manhunt.
Well, I mean, I just remember after the bombing itself, the looting that was going on. That was
just
reported.
So fucking disgusting.
Not only just looting in general, but the what appeared to be middle class suburbanites running over to the Marathon jacket tent and stealing jackets.
Oh, and they went up on eBay. There was a lot, and it was disgusting.
Okay.
There was a lot of marathon shit like medals and jackets and shoes that were, all that stuff. I mean, you fucking go to eBay, it's fucking disgusting to read.
This is to any of those people out there who are selling their stuff on eBay. Fuck you for being a fucking piece of shit who wants to cash in on tragedy. Fuck you.
Right.
You're not even a human. You should literally just go and drown yourself, because that's you're an asshole. You're the biggest piece of shit out there, and fuck you again.
I see.
I mean, that's awful. That's sad. That's really sad.
Yeah.
Again,
I just typed Boston Marathon into eBay, and
again,
a lot of shirts.
You saw the greatest, greatness and the worst in humanity. And it wasn't just, and I'm not even just talking about the bombers. I'm talking about shit ass people like that. That's disgusting.
Jackets, shoot. I mean, it's just.
And I'm not saying I'm a God-fearing man. I'm not even a religious man. But when stuff like that happens, I really hope to myself, silently, I quote unquote pray to myself that there is someone that you have to answer to at the end, so they go straight to fucking hell because they deserve it. And I hope when they get there, the devil or whoever it is prodding them with a pitchfork without any lube.
Nice.
Just spit. Fuck you, man. That's fucking off. That pisses me off so much.
That really got under your skin, huh?
Yeah. That's like that's like bamboo shoots in the fingernails. It's like, fuck off, man. What the hell?
That is.
What the fuck?
That is ouch.
Ouch. No, and the reason why I'm so pissed off about it is just, again, we saw such a great support in humanity and an outcry of just wonderful sentiments.
The scumbags in the
people
world.
giving charity.
That's just,
it's just pathetic. It's really pathetic.
As shitty as that is.
I wish modern medicine wasn't as good as it was. So those people die off.
But you know that the good outweighs the shitty.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
Just even Sunday afternoon, I went to the Bruins game, and this was now the third game in Boston since the marathon. First, I believe, second after catching him, because the first was Saturday afternoon.
Second after catching him. Yeah.
Second after catching him, and the pro shop had a line. It's not a big pro shop to begin with.
No, it's
but the
tiny.
line snaked the entire pro shop out the door and down almost outside, and people were in there buying the usual paraphernalia, hats and shirts and stuff. But I saw every single person in there with one of the Boston Strong T-shirts, and 100% it was a $26 shirt.
Going to the One Fund, right?
100% went to the One Fund,
which I think is phenomenal.
To the point that I had to get an extra large, double X. He's like, nope, we're sold out. I'm like, shit.
The outpouring of support there, and it wasn't just obviously the Bruins had it. I'm sure the Red Sox are going to start selling jerseys that say Boston on it, like they had all weekend.
Sully's. I'll give them a plug. The second Ortiz said, "This is our fucking city," they came up within minutes.
Which is great.
Within minutes, Sully's had a mock-up of "This is our fucking city,"
because that's
in quotes, and 100% goes to the One Fund.
I think that's great. And again,
brilliant.
Like, it's a great it's a great marketing move, but it's a great human being move. You know, to have 100% of those.
It's just
and another one, and it's more on a national level, I guess. But the Dropkick Murphys came out with a T-shirt.
Yep.
And it was a for Boston T-shirt. They already raised before. This was before they actually caught suspect number 2.
Yeah.
They raised like $26,000 from that T-shirt. It's not even made yet. It was just pre-order. $26,000, and I think a good portion of it,
the
if
one
not
fund
all of
has
it's
raised
going,
over $20 million already.
Holy shit!
That's amazing.
Now I really and truly, again, the best of humanity and the worst of humanity. I really and truly hope that money does go to the victims and the people affected.
Yeah.
And not anyone that got a bruise from the bombings. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like there was a lot of people that were seriously injured that are still in the hospital. Those people deserve it. Not, oh my God, like I was in the bombing. Well, I was like, I was like 12 blocks away and I stubbed my toe.
You want to imagine there's a way to
make sure that
send the funds
right
to the right
people,
places. Yeah. And you want to imagine that will happen. But security was, I gotta say, it was upped.
Oh, at the Bruins game.
At the Bruins game, it was definitely.
Well,
upped.
I know that they were making a big deal about it because Fleetwood Mac was in town that Tuesday, I believe, and they were making a big deal about bags being searched. Don't even bring bags in. Yeah, Wednesday was the Bruins game.
They said I know purses were allowed, bags were not. So like book bags, that sort of shit, not allowed. They were wanding people as they went in, and you know, patting down if there was extra layers and stuff, which is fine. And
sorry, these aren't extra layers. I'm just fat.
You keep patting all you want, pal. That's all me.
This is the most touching I've ever had.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Yes, these are real.
But I gotta admit, and this goes way beyond the marathon bombing. This is I've had this opinion since even TSA starting back after 9/11. I don't give a rat's ass how much security I have to go through. I really don't. It's like if this means that I'm going to be on a safe flight or I'm going to be safe at a sports venue, fine. Take the extra that because the biggest thing with the TSA was always people bitching about those the 3D thermal scanner things. Yeah. And like, oh, it shows my naked. It's like, really?
Then work out.
Well, I'm just like, I'm at the point, it's like, if it means I'm going to get on the plane and I'm going to be safe, or I'm just going to get through security a little bit faster, I'll fucking strip down. I don't give a damn. I got nothing. Yeah. Here, go ahead. But people bitching that, oh, there's too much security. It's like, really, dude?
You're right.
And there was I don't know. I've been debating whether or not I wanted to go here, but fuck it. I saw a lot of shit, and it's a lot. I don't know if it's right or left wing, whatever the fuck it is, but the people calling that said that Boston was a police state. Yeah, and they were saying that there was a lot of people that were saying that they saw videos on YouTube mostly of the police doing the house-to-house searches, and they're like, dude, if they showed up at my door, I'd say, if you don't have a warrant, get the fuck out. It's like, you don't understand. There was a dude trying to kill people.
You just don't get it. They don't get it.
They don't. I mean, how fucking thick do you have to be? I mean, that's a
dumbass liberal thing to say.
It really is.
And I'm not a right-wing guy or a left-wing guy or a liberal. I'm a fucking realist.
It's just common sense.
If the cops are out there looking for a perpetrator,
there's a tank in the street. There's probably a reason.
Yeah, I would hope so.
This is Watertown, Massachusetts. This isn't fucking Syria. Yeah. There's a reason for a tank being in the street. Okay, not that it's acceptable, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, just their comments were just so fucking enraging.
Well, they're just mouth breathers.
And then they're like, they didn't even read him his rights when they fucking arrested him. It's like, are you really trying to make excuses for this piece of shit?
A lot of people are.
Really?
A lot of people are. I just read an article that came out of either the Globe or the Herald or something that was in the other room, and they think because of that, because they didn't read him his Miranda rights, and because there's a few other things, that possible loopholes that a really good defensive lawyer can tackle, he might escape the death penalty.
Well, to that, I also have, there was a, it was, I want to say Saturday, maybe Sunday afternoon, I forget. One of the federal analysts, federal crime analysts, was on one of the fucking news stations. And he made a really good point about the death penalty that I hadn't even thought of. He said that they might take the death penalty off the table if he shows a desire to die. Meaning they said that there was shit scrawled on the boat saying, "My brother's a hero, he is now with Allah." Some of these guys, death is the end game for them.
Yeah.
Death is the ultimate prize for them. So if they feel that he's going to accomplish his ultimate goal by getting the death penalty, then they'll take that off the table.
Right. It's like it's like the end of Seven.
Yeah.
If you feed into it, he wins.
To that point, I'm like, okay. I mean, because
yes, you take that off the table, and that's if that is his end game. And he doesn't seem like, from all the interviews that you heard and all the information, it doesn't sound like he's the.
It seemed like the other one was the radical one.
Yeah.
The older one was the radical, and he was just kind of the dumb brother who followed along.
He kind of just went with it,
Yeah.
you know, younger brother impressing the older brother type thing. But, you know, you give him. It's like one of those things where you give him the death penalty, he dies, and he gets his way. Like, 'cause he's a martyr, he's a radical, or he sits and he rots in jail, and we're paying for him.
Well,
that's the only other thing that's kind of.
And the problem with that is, in situations like this, we're never going to be satisfied. No matter what the outcome is, because if it's a death penalty, they'll probably give him the needle, which is too fucking good for him, in my opinion.
No, they need to bring back hangings.
I know exactly. I felt the same exact way.
Public hangings.
I felt the same exact way. But if he is put in prison for life, it's not like he's going into Gen Pop.
No.
He's going to be in his own little fucking cell. He's going to be privately walked around the yard for an hour to get his exercise and brought back into his own private cell. It's going to be, it's one of those things
probably until he reaches a certain age. I don't think they would do that to him as
Maybe.
a 19-year-old. No, I'm just saying because, you know, seeing Shawshank Redemption, you want to talk about fresh fish.
Right.
You know, it's like a 19-year-old kid going into the penitentiary. It's like he's defenseless, really.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know what they would do there. And the only other thing that I remember, because I know for a while there's a report whether or not it was he tried to commit suicide.
There was that too, the neck wound, yeah.
And someone had said, you know, what if he's a vegetable? And I said, well, if he's a vegetable, they're going to put him in a home. They can't, because you can't. They would have so many people after them, even though this kid was a part of a bombing of the American people. It's a sign of an act of terrorism. If you put a mentally handicapped person in prison, you'd have so many people coming after you. You know, so you couldn't do that. So luckily so it seems he still has wits about him.
It's one of those unfortunate things about living in a civilized society.
Yeah,
we have
everyone's got rights.
We got rights and shit like that. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but once you have an act of terrorism,
I felt the same way.
You don't have rights. Like I don't personally.
I even said it.
I know maybe some people that are listening in might completely disagree, and we might lose some listeners. But if you're a prisoner,
we welcome a debate. If you want to debate us, by all means.
But if you're a prisoner, you get no rights. You lost your rights once you.
I don't
broke the law.
Last week was such a fucking blur. I don't remember if I said it or not. But I mean, my whole feeling about it is, and even this aside, if you murder an innocent person, meaning you take away an innocent life, in my opinion, you should revoke your life privileges. Plain and simple.
So you're saying Koto Hammurabi, eye for an eye type thing?
Pretty much. To a point. Well, to a point. And I mean, obviously there's due process and you need to go through a trial system and all that shit. But at the end of the day, all other bullshit aside, they murdered the cop and the 3 other victims at the bombing. There shouldn't be much discussion. There shouldn't, in my opinion. They should die, and in my opinion, they should die painfully. You know, the first one, well, he got shot up and dragged by a fucking car. Good for him.
By his own brother.
By his own brother. dumbass dragged his fucking brother and possibly botched a suicide. He sounds like a fucking brain surgeon. But
I mean, I agree with you.
actually, he was a medical student, wasn't he?
No, he's a marine biologist student.
Which one's the medical student?
I don't think either one was a medical student. I don't know where that
was
came
some
from.
of the misinformation.
I think someone came out and said that, but I believe because a lot of times when people go down, because I graduated from UMass Dartmouth. UMass Dartmouth has a marine biology program. A lot of people go down there for it.
I guess the older one was like a stay-at-home dad. I heard
he had a family.
Yeah,
I heard he was an amateur boxer.
I heard somewhere either yesterday or today that the wife had like a really good job and he just stayed at home with the kids, figuring out how to bomb us, basically.
Well, and I think that's why they were saying he was funded by what is being a man who is being deemed as the Russian Bin Laden.
Oh, really?
And he's got the beard to match.
I haven't seen it. I don't know the story.
But that's who he visited when the oldest left the country for 6 months. That's who he went and visited, and they think that that's probably who is funding these guys. That's why the oldest, who had no job and no source of income, was getting all this money that he was flaunting around and driving a Mercedes, and he's got scarves, and
I don't think he was. He wasn't driving a Mercedes.
He was driving it beforehand.
No, they were sharing that Honda. They jacked the Mercedes.
No. This was before the bombing.
Oh.
This is before the manhunt.
See, so much fucking information.
I know.
I can't get it all fucking.
And again, I got sucked into it because I wanted to.
You wanted as much as you could. Yeah.
And hear why? Because everyone turns into that amateur psychologist after this, or as we all did on the internet, everyone turned into an amateur detective. The internet detectives.
The internet detectives.
That's what we all became, and that's what we still are becoming because we still don't have answers.
Right.
And it's not until the kid comes out and says it. We might not. We might not get anything.
There might not ever be a why to this. I mean.
But to your point about basically an eye for an eye type thing within reason. I think it's got to be that way because if it's not, no one's really learning a lesson. The way I always talked about it with my dad was, a lot of these criminals, they weigh out their options.
Right.
Well, if I do this, if I just hit this guy and do this, I'll only get 6 years. I'd be out in 3, and I get probation. If I kill the guy, I get this. Well, I guess this one. So, and it's like not only that, it's if I get a good enough lawyer too.
Right. If
I lawyer up pretty well, and then I'm able to do this, it's like, where's the learning there? Where's the penalty?
Right.
Where's the punishment? And then when they get to the actual fucking prison,
right.
It's weight rooms and they got libraries.
Protective custody.
Protective custody. They got
all the people that really they deserve protective custody. Come fuck on.
You have kids, you have people out there, actual people, hardworking people making minimum wage out there with no health insurance, and you got these prisoners, fucking prisoners.
They're gonna start taking our experience dollars, Billy.
Shut up. Then I got nothing. You got prisoners out there that are getting, health insurance benefits, that are getting 3 square meals a day, and it's not bad eating either. And you got, they have libraries, you got internet access, you got television. It's Club Med.
For a prisoner, yeah.
The only thing that you have to worry about is
rape,
getting beaten and getting raped and getting killed by another prisoner who just doesn't give a shit.
That old rape thing kind of rears its ugly head again. Yes.
But even that, a friend of mine was just telling me of a mutual friend that we had who just got out of prison, and he said it wasn't that bad at all.
The rape?
No, the experience said
you really warm up to it after a while.
He said there was no rape, but for him though it was a little easier since he's a tattoo artist and they really enjoy tattoo artists and guys who can draw. Apparently in jail because they'll have you decorate the letters home to the kids if you got kids or something. But of course he's a tattoo artist, so they would steal him and bring in stuff for this kid to do tattoos on the guys. And then they even had a ditch man where it was like if someone was coming down, if the cops were coming down, you're getting a tattoo done, what this kid would have to do is take the tattoo needle and he'd throw it at this other guy, and it was the other guy's job that he threw it at to get caught with it. So they didn't take, and they put him in the hole.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So the tattoo artist could keep going. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so he had a little bit easier, I think, than a lot of other people. But again, it's like, but again, these guys aren't really getting punished.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're gonna give this kid possibly life in prison as a terrorist threat. You're gonna give him life. I mean, if you caught Bin Laden, were you gonna give him life in prison?
That's the other problem, is they can't try him as an enemy combatant, and the liberals will love the fucking fact that, you know, that one, oh, well, he's a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
Again.
Timothy McVeigh was a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, but did they try him as an enemy combatant?
I'm not sure, but they certainly gave him the death penalty.
Oh, they put him to death. Yeah, absolutely. But he also wasn't, you know, one of those religious fanatics that, you know, with the possibility of death, it was the ultimate goal. He was just a fucking wacko.
Yeah.
You know.
Or what about did they ever give the Unabomber death?
I think he's dead. I don't know.
Kaczynski?
I don't know.
But anyway, you know, it's, again, the law is so ass backwards in the way that's written now. They can't change it unless the United States gets run over by a dictator. Yeah. That's the only way it could ever happen. Some might argue that we already are, but whatever. We're not a political show.
Somehow we're gonna all blame it on him, aren't we?
Well, that's what a lot of people are trying to do.
Right. It's all his fault. Yeah. I don't know. The Unabomber's still alive.
Good job, Ted.
Ugly as sin. Jesus Christ, he's an ugly man. That drawing is a lot better than he really ended up looking. Kind of looks like Harry Reams in the drawing, but
oh my God,
turned out being fucking Dutch Mantel they caught.
Well,
sorry, Dutch.
Sorry, Dutch.
Sorry, Dutch.
Now he's never gonna come on.
No. But well, I said Dutch, not Zeb Coulter. He'll still come on with us.
Ah, you just screwed it up now.
Sorry, keeping the kayfabe. But yeah, so it's been a trying week, to say the least. But I think we're moving.
It's been exhausting, but I think people are starting to move forward. And again, we're moving forward, but we're not forgetting. And that's what you have to do. That's how you always have to do it. Because if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it.
No, so, but if nothing else, we have to live our lives.
Absolutely. You can't. Know? Again, that was one of the things after 9/11. It seemed that, at least in the media, no one wanted to move on from it. So then you got like months of coverage on 9/11. And yes, it was a tragic thing that happened, a tragic event. But when you don't live your life and go back to living it,
right,
you're just dwelling in it. And I mean, that's just depression, you know. Just remember what happened, move on.
Of course, the whoever makes all these Boston memes, bravo to most of them.
Oh, the 2013 hide and seek champs.
Hide and seek champs. That was wonderful. I liked the one. It took us 3,000 and something days to kill Bin Laden.
To find Bin Laden.
4 days to find these guys. Welcome to Boston, asshole.
That was my favorite one.
That was wonderful.
Out of all of them.
But yeah, I mean.
And I made a couple too, and it was fun.
Worst getaway vehicle ever. The boat.
I didn't see that.
It was just a picture of the boat.
That. That's pretty funny.
I mean, it was shit like, and they couldn't have written that story better. The boat was called the Slipaway 2.
Was it really?
That was the name of the boat. I mean, and it had to be 2 also. Because he was the second fucking thing.
The only one that I made for that was Never Get Out of the Boat from Apocalypse Now.
Right.
But I didn't even know about that.
The name of the boat was the Slipaway 2.
Again, you can't write this shit.
You can't write this shit.
I mean, again, that's why I was saying, if it was the Brown student, what a great story that would have been. Like, in movie line, I said M. Night Shyamalan couldn't have written a better twist. You know? But that right there...
It's still going to make an interesting movie.
Oh. And it's going to be a movie. It's probably going to be made into 3 different movies.
A great... I saw a tweet come across, and this was morning of the manhunt. It was probably 8, 9 o'clock when shit was still going down. And it was funny because it was retweeted by Ben Mesrick, who wrote 21, and all those. And it was somebody tweeted, how long before Ben Mesrick writes a wonderful book that Ben Affleck turns into an Academy Award-winning movie? Retweeted by Ben Mesrick, which you can only imagine. He's like, good idea. Fuck.
Guys, I gotta go. I gotta get off Twitter. I got something to write.
I gotta write something.
Click. I mean, all he had to do was just turn on the news, and most of his, a good 5 or 6 chapters were just written for you.
And then, of course, it puts the thought in your head, how soon is too soon before you start buying the rights to this?
Are you kidding me? 9/11 was bought up and sold 2 years.
Before the second tower came down?
I think so. Well, I mean, there was Flight 901,
93. 93.
Flight 93, and then there was
Oliver Stone did one.
The Nicolas Cage one.
Yeah.
I mean, there was, and then not only that, but then you had television shows doing it.
Yeah.
It's like the WWE. I mean, nothing is sacred. Everything's up for grabs, and whether it's done tastefully or not, that's the other distinction.
The Whitey Bulger case still isn't over, and there's 5 movies already in the works.
One is Johnny Depp is starring as
Johnny Depp's got one.
Bulger.
Matt and Ben are doing one.
Yeah, I mean, but again,
it's just people.
But and let's not look at the biggest one. I mean, The Departed was based on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was based on a Japanese movie with the same
with a Whitey
scenario
twist.
With a Whitey twist because it was put in Boston and whatnot, but. Nothing is sacred. This thing is already been shopped around.
Sure.
Already, they're probably when they had that. The minute that kid woke up in the hospital bed, the first thing he was signing was his name to the rights of the movie. That's gonna, at least one of them.
Yeah.
And that, my opinion on that, I don't. We just watched it. Why do I have to go and pay to watch what just happened? Especially when I could just relive it if I wanted to on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because it's all over there. Or the news, because the news is showing it fucking 24 hours a day right now.
Yeah, and they got the 2 hours, the standoff when he was in the boat.
Yeah.
That unedited scanner for 2 hours is on SoundCloud somewhere.
Oh. See, again, it's all over the place.
It's
We're in a different world. You don't need to make a movie of it. Don't make a movie.
They're going to make a movie.
This is the real challenge. This is the real challenge. It's not who I can find to get to play suspect number 2 that'll look so good, doing it. It's the real challenge is let's see who doesn't make the movie.
Yeah, but you can't because somebody will.
And
then the people that don't are just going to be pissed off that they left money on the table.
As long as Daniel Day-Lewis doesn't play suspect number 2.
No. I see him somewhere, though.
He'd be the uncle.
He's got the uncle.
Uncle Rustler.
The uncle was boss. He was awesome. I want to see. That would be a great death penalty, having the fucking uncle come up and just whip the dude to death.
The uncle
beat his ass.
The uncle was like...
they are losers.
The uncle was what I imagine, what Putin would have been like if he was, over here and they interviewed Vladimir Putin over it. Losers. All losers.
The uncle was cutting like a pro wrestling promo on these guys. I'm surprised he didn't challenge him to a match at the Silverdome.
This Sunday.
And losers.
It was like something out of like fucking Nikolai Volkov or something like that. He was great.
Awesome.
And you know what? It was really good to see a family member with,
because a lot of them were fucking major.
The aunt was nuts. The other uncle,
the mother and father were again, prove it to me.
Yeah, but they
were set up. No, they really weren't.
Look, if they were set up, then why are they shooting machine guns at the cops?
Right. Here's
why are they throwing fucking bombs?
Above all else, I 100% believe that these 2 bombed the Boston Marathon. 100%. There's no question in my mind. But let's put devil's advocate in there and say that maybe they didn't.
Okay.
At the least, they shot a cop and killed a cop.
Certainly.
Shot another cop and put him in the hospital.
And drove all around Boston in one night, shooting and killing
and throwing bombs.
I mean, it's endangerment.
Okay, so at the least, they deserve to die for shooting the cop.
Yeah.
So,
So then, where's your argument there?
So why not? Just
no, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. And you could say what you will about the bombing thing, and yes, maybe they didn't do it. Although I'm not going to go against Jeff Bauman or one of the victims there who ID'd him.
Oh, right.
I'm not going to go against his word because, hey, he saw what he saw.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to believe you, man.
We all have the pictures.
Yeah.
At this point, we've all seen the pictures.
But again, I think one of the most damning pictures to their, against them is you have these pictures of these 2 guys carrying bags, and then the original pictures came out 5 o'clock. what, 6:30, that other picture came out of them escaping the bombing, and you see the kid in the white hat.
We were talking on the air when that came on.
When it came out.
Yeah, we were recording the show when that came out.
There's no backpack. Where's his backpack?
There's no backpack.
You know, it's like there's some damning things in there.
The picture of number 2 walking by the kid, Martin Richards, and he has a backpack because the backpack is in the picture on the ground.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
It's fucking it's haunting, but it's like the kid is up on the railing, and then number 2 with the white hat who was in the boat is walking behind him, and the backpack is there. It's like right by, like, you know, maybe a foot or 2 away from the kid's feet, and it's like, come on, man. I'm not a detective, but
string them up.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say.
I mean,
string them up. I don't care if they.
That's my whole point. It's like I
want no quarter.
In situations like this, I am absolutely for the death penalty. I just want it to hurt. I'm sorry. A fucking needle's too good for these pricks. It really is. But it is.
You know, there should be an actual penalty, whether we get it or not. I mean, that's the world in which we live in now.
And of course, we're never going to get that because, again, it's one of those things about living in a civilized society. You know, we are, the cruel and unusual punishment thing
you're bound to it,
taken off the table. So we either have to accept a painless death, or we have to pay for this guy to live in prison. Those are basically going to be our 2 options.
It's sad.
Yeah, it is. It's a bitch. It's a bitch. There's no other way to put it. But hindsight, glass half full, whatever you want to call it, at least we got them both.
Absolutely.
You know,
glad that happened.
At least that, and people will be like, well, they must be from a bigger threat. Well, at least that portion of the threat is fucking gone. If there's, a bigger thing going on out there, okay, it'll reveal itself sooner than later. But at least we got this one out of the fucking way.
I just saw the picture.
Yeah. Creepy, right?
Fry the motherfucker.
Right. That's another thing. We can't do electric chick anymore, can we?
No.
So we're just bound to this needle thing, aren't we?
Yep.
That's kind of a bitch. I'm going to strap him with a rubber diaper, make him shit himself. His eyeballs pop out.
Not putting you in charge of this.
That and is there any way for them to like set up some kind of broadcast of this?
Like Hussein's? Did you watch that one?
I watched that one. I didn't feel bad about it at all. But that wasn't even a broadcast. That was some...
No, it was shot on some guy's cell phone.
Some smart motherfucker with a cell phone. And yeah, I watched that. I watched it a few times. Good.
The only issue with the hanging thing, and I know that this is part of it, is, if you don't... And it's in the history of hanging.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do remember doing a report on capital punishment when I was a teenage kid.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with hanging is, if you do it wrong, you're left with a pretty gruesome scene.
Good.
Like, well, I'm saying if you had it,
meaning what?
In a public school, decapitations, elongating the neck. So I mean, there's some. Again, it would definitely, to see something like that, might scare some actual sense into some people.
Well,
it's
that's also
man, if I do the same crime, that's my fate. Like, it would work, but
there's also, I mean, during the fuck, it was during the manhunt. I had probably just gotten home, so it was around when I left here at 2, must have been between 3 and 4, that the death photo of the first one came out.
Yeah.
And I initially was going to just post it. But then, and I actually went so far as to send a warning tweet saying the next tweet that comes out is going to include a photo of a dead body. This is the photo of suspect number 1. And I sent that out. And then I sat there for a second. I'm like, all right, delete the first one. And I sent out a new tweet saying, if you want to see it,
and that's what I did.
Direct message me. And you'd be surprised how many people, and people I did not even expect to hear from.
Really?
Like, people, I hadn't talked to in years, coming out of the woodwork being like, I want to see this motherfucker.
I put it out.
And then most of the reactions to it Should have got worse.
Really?
Should have got worse.
See, now I didn't do. I put it out there on Facebook. 2 people responded, 1 female and I believe 1 male, and the same response came back, which was just wow.
Yeah,
and that was it.
I got quite a few. There was nobody that was upset by it. Nobody was upset by it. There was quite a few. He should have gotten worse.
Actually, Danny said to me.
One person thought it was fake.
She said, really, that's it? Like, she said, it doesn't even look like a dead body.
What, and the reason the person thought it was fake was, I think, through misinformation, because the news said that he had blown up his torso.
Yeah.
So,
which is understandably so. And then it wasn't until a friend had told me that, because I didn't hear this come across the news, and I must have slept through this or passed out through this.
Sure.
But the gash in the side was actually from them trying to resuscitate his heart.
I actually had to Google the process. There's a certain name for it, but yeah, they have to reach into the body
and literally pump the heart.
It's used to get to either spinal injuries or heart, because Wikipedia, God love it. But there's a few different reasons why they would do that. But that was actually an incision, not even an accident. Because I figured that was part of the dragging.
I thought that was dragging, or I thought that's where
the bomb.
Or that's where a bomb would have gone off, and maybe it just wasn't big enough, or whatever it was. But
that in fact was just the incision.
You know, it was
a dead body.
It was certainly a dead body. It was. It wasn't. It wasn't the most. I've seen more gruesome things on FX. Or
I saw more gruesome stuff from the fucking finish line.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
God.
So I think that made people like, fuck him. You know.
Yeah, he
got off easy.
You know what? The way you say it, yeah, he did get off easy. I mean, putting it into that context, in that perspective.
4 days earlier,
absolutely.
We saw much more gruesome photos of people we knew.
Yeah, people that shouldn't have. Photos that shouldn't have been made public.
Okay,
but it happened
because of this motherfucker, and his shitty brother. Fucking idiot, couldn't even kill himself right.
Hang him.
You know,
hang him.
And if we could get like Google involved in this,
hang him and hang him,
and like we could post it live on the Google homepage. You know how they always do something where it's Google, where it's like
the doodle.
Mario Brothers or something. That'll be the doodle, just his live death video. I think that'd be great. That way everybody can see it, not some local news affiliate or anything like that. Just right on the front page of Google. Fuck it.
With that, instead of Google underneath it just says fuck it. Okay.
Why not? I say ship the fucker off.
I think that's a great way to end the show right there.
Why not? There you go.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. But so thank you all for listening once again, and thank you for the feedback on last week's show. We've gotten a lot of very positive feedback, and it was a very it was a special and a very uncharacteristic show for us.
We'll be back to dick jokes and stupidity.
We'll be back to wrestling and porn next week. Trust us. But for the past 2 weeks, it's been a very personal investment that we've had in these stories. So we thank you all for listening and the feedback that you've given us on Twitter and on Facebook.
And it's certainly been a good time to vent, and I think it's out of me now. And it's out of me until.
The venting portion, anyway.
The venting portion is out of me until the next
trial.
Yeah, until the trial. But thank you all for listening, and I hope you're all safe and sound and
living.
That's
what I was saying all weekend on the air. Live your life to the fullest, man.
Absolutely. Go out and hug a tree, hug a stranger, whatever the fuck it is. Just be good to each other.
And I know I mentioned earlier, just seeing the people, and I'll end before I won't get too long-winded. Driving into work at midnight on Friday night, after they had captured him, and seeing people dancing through the streets of Watertown. You had to, you well up a little bit with the tears. It just made you smile. You roll your window down, you play some
chopping onions in here.
Roll that window down, put some drop kicks on, and just be a happy fucking Bostonian. Absolutely.
Honestly, if everyone did that at least once a week, you'd be
a block party once a week.
You'd be a hell of a lot happier.
Let's do it.
So do it. Enjoy life.
Of course, you can find us Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes. Subscribe, download, etc., etc. We welcome all forms of feedback. Our Twitter page is @MikeandBilly. Facebook page is facebook.com/MikeandBillyShow. And we thank you for listening to episode 23, and we will see you back here next week, episode 24. Thank you.
Down with CISPA. Bye-bye.